Well, a machine that can easily be described as the world's biggest atom smasher is back up and running. The particle accelerator was shut down for 2 years for some intense maintenance. Scientists at the European Organization for Nuclear Research spent about $150 million on the upgrade, opening the massive machine every 66 feet to do inspections and repairs on the 16.8-mile tunnel. The collider was instrumental.
Could be many more discoveries over the lifetime of this underground science city. Nadeem Barber, Al Jazeera.
A massive particle accelerator located near Geneva, Switzerland. It was shut down for an upgrade that scientists hope will give them a look into the unseen universe. Today, scientists at CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, shot 2 particle beams through the collider's 16.8-mile tunnel. They hope to discover new physics, including a first-ever glimpse of dark matter. CERN spent about $150 million on the upgrade, opening the machine every 66 feet, checking magnets and improving connections. The large collider was instrumental in the discovery of the Higgs boson, a subatomic particle that had been theorized but wasn't confirmed until
the particle accelerator is back in action after a 2-year shutdown and an upgrade. Scientists at the European Organization for Nuclear Research, better known as CERN, shot 2 particle beams through the large collider's nearly 17-mile tunnel. They hope to see all sorts of new physics, including a first-ever glimpse of dark matter.
We have to continue to correct a little bit the trajectory to make it the beam now do multiple turns. Then we can start capturing it with the RF system. But in the meantime, we'll try the other beam in the other direction and try and get that to the same stage.
Next injection.
CERN spent about $150 million to upgrade the atom smasher. They have opened it every 66 feet, checked the magnets, and improved all the connections.
Hope could give them a look into the unseen dark universe. Scientists at the European Organization for Nuclear Research recently shot 2 particle beams through the Large Hadron Collider's nearly 17-mile tunnel beneath the Swiss-French border by Geneva.
Shot 2 particle beams through the Large Hadron Collider's 16-mile tunnel beneath the Swiss-French border. Now, the collider was instrumental in the discovery of the Higgs boson, which is a subatomic particle that had long been theorized but never confirmed until 2013. Scientists hope the more powerful beam crashes, expected to start as early as June, will give them a peek into the unseen dark universe. This morning, the world's biggest particle accelerator is starting up again after a 2-year shutdown and upgrade. Scientists at the European Organization
En la sede del Centro Europeo de Física de Partículas en Suiza ha vuelto a ponerse en marcha el colisionador de hadrones. Después de 2 años de parada obligada para hacer reparaciones, los protones vuelven a circular por los 27 kilómetros de túnel subterráneo. Durante estos 2 últimos años se ha reemplazado el sistema de ventilación completo del gran colisionador de hadrones y más de 100 kilómetros de cables. Esto lo que va a pasar es que le va a permitir alcanzar una mayor velocidad. Además, el acelerador está mejorado y va a poder utilizar toda su capacidad durante los próximos 2 años para arrojar luz sobre la composición de la materia oscura.
Accelerator is back in action after a 2-year shutdown and an upgrade, embarking on a new mission. Scientists hope could give them a look into the unseen dark universe. Scientists at the European Organization for Nuclear Research shot 2 particle beams through the Large Hadron Collider's 16.8-mile tunnel beneath the Swiss-French border near Geneva. The collider was instrumental in the discovery of the Higgs boson, a subatomic particle that had been theorized but never confirmed until the year 2013. Now they hope to see all sorts of new physics, including a first-ever glimpse of dark matter during the collider's second 3-year run.
2-year shutdown and upgrade, embarking on a new mission that scientists hope could give them a look into the unseen dark universe. The European Organization for Nuclear Research, or CERN, was instrumental in the discovery of the Higgs boson, a subatomic particle long been theorized but never confirmed until 2013. Scientists are promising nearly twice the energy and more violent particle crashes this time around. They hope to see all sorts of new physics, including a first-ever glimpse of dark matter during the collider's second 3-year run. Pretty cool.
The most powerful atom smasher is back in business. The Large Hadron Collider at the European Organization for the Nuclear Research, or CERN, has been offline for 2 years. The organization spent $150 million to upgrade the massive device. It's located in a 17-mile tunnel outside Geneva, Switzerland. The colander has already led to the discovery of a previously unseen fundamental particle of matter.
Particle accelerator.
Yeah, they're searching for dark matter. It's called the Large Hadron Collider. It was a $150 million upgrade done by the European Space Agency. So this is a big project and can potentially have a big impact as far as studying space is concerned. Let's go ahead and check in with CBSNews.com. And you're looking at the picture right here from February 10th. European Space Agency Organization for Nuclear Research, which is near Geneva. So they shot 2 particle beams through the Large Hadron Collider. It's a 16.8-mile tunnel beneath the Swiss-French border near Geneva. The organization actually wrote on its website that startup is complete. Now, it is at the European Organization for Nuclear Research, not the Space Agency. I do apologize for that. It's called CERN. Now, this actually collider was instrumental in the search for a Higgs boson, so a pretty big impact that this could potentially have on dark matter as scientists continue to search for that and figure out exactly what it is and what it does. So it'll be really interesting to see how big of an impact this has. A $150 million upgrade there of the Large Hadron Collider.
And research is expensive, but you got to know certain things.
Yeah, look at that thing. I mean, who knows what it does?
It looks expensive. We have no idea what it does. It looks like it costs a lot of money.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much, Jillian. We appreciate it right now.
It is 10 minutes after 6 a.m.
These are just baby steps for researchers here at CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research.
It will take us about 2 months, say 6 weeks to 2 months, to actually establish the first stable collisions for the experiments, because we have to commission all the instruments, all the systems, one by one.
In 2012, CERN announced an unexpected breakthrough.
I think it's a great day for particle physics.
Scientists finally discovered the Higgs boson, an elementary particle that gives mass to other particles, earning it the nickname the God particle. The following year, 2 of the scientists behind the theory, Peter Higgs on the right here and François Englert, got the Nobel Prize in Physics.
Without the Higgs field, there would be no atoms, there would be no nuclei, there would be no molecules, which are the fundamental building blocks of our matter, and therefore there would also be no stars, there would be no galaxy, there would be no planetary system, there would be no Earth, and eventually there would be no life on Earth.
The LHC contains a ring of superconducting magnets with accelerating structures which boost particles as they hurtle down the tunnel. Soon they'll be travelling at almost the speed of light, and analysing their collisions could reveal new scientific secrets. Eventually they'll be looking at areas like dark matter. That's the invisible matter which makes up 84% of the known universe, but can only be detected by its influence on visible matter like galaxies and planets. But there could be many more discoveries over the lifetime of this underground science city. Nadim Barber, Al Jazeera.
2 anys de parada tècnica i 150 milions de dòlars per millorar-ne el funcionament. És el gran col·lisionador de drons, l'accelerador de partícules subatòmiques més gran del món, la joia de la corona del Centre Europeu per a la Recerca Nuclear a Suïssa. A tocar de Ginebra, els científics celebraven ahir que un nou feix de protons tornés a girar per l'anella de 27 quilòmetres enterrada a 100 metres sota terra. Gràcies a un sistema d'imants, les partícules recorren el cercle a gairebé la velocitat de la llum, en el buit, i a una temperatura de 271 graus centígrads negatius, fregant el zero absolut.
We have to continue to correct a little bit the trajectory to make the beam now do multiple turns. And we'll try the other beam in the other direction and try and get that to the same stage.
I també han aconseguit fer girar un segon feix en direcció contrària. Així podran fer xocar els 2 rajos, en unes col·lisions que poden alliberar una energia equivalent a 100.000 vegades la calor del centre del Sol. Múltiples sensors capturen l'instant de la col·lisió. Ordinadors i experts n'analitzen les dades. Què busquen? Entendre la naturalesa de la matèria en el moment en què el cosmos va néixer. I respondre preguntes com ara, què se n'ha fet de l'antimatèria? La podríem veure ni que sigui per un instant, com ja es va aconseguir amb el bosó de Higgs?
Donc il a fallu faire un grand nombre de travaux, en particulier sur les interconnexions entre les aimants.
En total s'han consolidat unes 10.000 connexions elèctriques. El pas següent, duplicar les col·lisions i incrementar l'energia dels feixos.
Hi, I'm Carl, checking the week's top science and tech stories. The world's biggest experiment should restart this weekend. The Large Hadron Collider has been closed for a 2-year refit. Scientists are working to discover what the universe is made of.
The Large Hadron Collider, the world's largest and most powerful particle collider, will restart this weekend. Scientists are completing final tests on the collider after a non-specified problem delayed the restart at the end of March. The device is located in a cavern 330 feet underground below a small Swiss village. It's responsible for the discovery of the Higgs boson, nicknamed the God particle, for its ability to give mass to most elementary particles, making it responsible for the creation of stars, planets, and life itself.
The world's largest and most powerful particle accelerator, the Hadron Collider, will restart this weekend after a 2-year hiatus.
25-2, as the Large Hadron Collider gets ready to restart. We'll talk live to one of the head bosses at CERN, Paul Collier.
Thank you. Now I'm quite excited about this because the Large Hadron Collider, you know, the incredible circle, it's 17 miles long, underground, headquarters in CERN, of course, which smashes atoms together, discovered the Higgs boson particle, which scientists thought existed and provided mass to things, and they eventually found it. It's going to reopen this weekend. It's been closed for a couple of years, so it's going to reopen. Let's go to Geneva. We can talk to Paul Collier, who's CERN's head of beams. Good morning to you, Paul. Great to talk to you. We know this is, you're not just reopening, you're, in terms of the beams that are going to be used in this, you're almost going to be doubling the energy in those, aren't you?
That's correct, yes, yes. During the previous run, we were running at what we call 4 tera-electron volts per beam. And now we come back, we can run up to 6.5, so almost double.
And so in terms of that, and in terms of what you're trying to find, presumably particles we've not seen before, and the higher the energy, the more exotic those particles could be, presumably.
That's the hope. The higher the energy of the collisions, the more likely you are to produce new and exotic particles.
And to what end, Paul? Because I understand this is actually focusing on this elusive dark matter, which we think, what, makes up about 84% of the universe, and yet we know absolutely nothing about.
That's correct, yeah. We're hoping to get hints via our detectors with these very high collisions of the new physics which will help explain what dark matter is.
Now, you say new physics. I mean, is this actually going to be a completely new physics, a new science, an absolutely sort of virgin start for some?
Well, in a sense, we have a standard model which explains all the matter around us at the moment rather neatly. But we know that it has its limitations, and we know that there are things that we don't understand yet. So for me, this is more like a doorway into things beyond the standard model, which will open up, yes, new areas, new physics, new theories, new knowledge of the universe.
I mean, you say a doorway. I mean, presumably that this. Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit of a geek, Paul. I'm a big fan of science fiction, but presumably this could almost open up a door into things which we cannot conceive of at this time.
Yes, one would assume so. As I say, the standard model explains roughly 4% of the universe. The other 96% is somewhat dark to us at the moment, and any explanation we can start to put together on this 96% surely will bring new and interesting insights into the universe.
What about the timing of this, Paul? I mean, what did it take to find the Higgs boson? About 50 years. How long to find some answers here, do you think?
Well, some things could come very quickly. It depends really on nature. We're in nature's hands now. We'll start up the LHC. We'll probably be doing first collisions in June. Maybe something, if it's a very clear signal, will come out relatively quickly. But in any case, we can also look for new physics in, shall we say, looking more carefully into what we already know, and studying the Higgs particle in more and more detail is a very critical part of the experimental program for the coming years. by looking at exactly how the Higgs particle behaves, we can compare that to what we think in the model, and we can start to find anomalies which turn into the new physics I'm talking about.
Paul, the best of luck as you get those beams fired up. If you ever want to show anyone round, I'll happily come over. With my idea of heaven. Best of luck to you, Paul.
Okay, thank you.
Fantastic. Oh, what I absolutely love it. New physics on the way. Let's talk science. Large Hadron Collider, you know, it found the Higgs boson a couple of years ago. It's reopening. It's been closed for 2 years. David Whitehouse is a man who's all about this sort of thing, and he's here. Let's just crack on with the detail, David. Because we're talking, in effect, they're talking about trying to discover more of these exotic particles, aren't they? Stuff that we really, at the moment, know nothing about.
Nothing about it. This is exploration in a true sense, because what they're looking for is the fundamental building blocks of the universe. The stuff that actually has not been around since the universe was a fraction of a second old, even much younger than that. They're firing two beams of protons together, subatomic particles, and creating tiny explosions which mimic the Big Bang. And out of those explosions, they're seeing which particles form. These particles aren't around us today. They were only around in this explosion of the Big Bang. But the exciting thing is that when you look at these particles, there is a pattern, there's a plan, there's logic in terms of how much energy they've got and how they relate to other particles. And it's trying to work out that plan, which is fascinating. Large Hadron Collider doing is it exploring new regions of energy where there could be new particles to be found. And exactly the properties of those particles will tell us more about the plan, more about the maths, if you like, this idea on which the whole universe is based.
But we're talking as well, aren't we, about what we term dark matter, which is what is most of the universe is filled with, and we don't know what it is, and it's new physics. This is stuff we do not understand in any way, shape or form at the moment.
That's right. To say we understand the universe is not true, because as you've said, most of it is made of dark matter and dark energy, and we don't know what that is. The stars and the planets, galaxies we see are a tiny fraction of what's out there. Most of it is unknown, so we don't understand it. And it's thought that the tiny explosions the Large Hadron Collider mimics the Big Bang, will give us a clue as to where that dark matter came from, what it is, and how we might find it around us today.
Just to raise a concern that was around a while ago, well, when it all first kicked off looking for the Higgs boson, these beams are travelling, in effect, with twice as much energy as they had last time round. That means they're getting closer to the speed of light. They're pretty close to start with. What are the dangers in creating these tiny Big Bangs of micro singularities? Because, which is in effect, it would be a tiny, tiny, tiny black hole, but even so, that'd be the end of us, wouldn't it?
You don't want to make a black hole on Earth, because black holes swallow matter. It would grow, it would fall to the centre of the Earth, and it would gobble up the Earth. It's not going to happen, because although these energies are greater than the created before in the Large Hadron Collider and haven't been seen in general since the Big Bang, there are out in space particles which drift through the galaxy, scream through the galaxy, called cosmic rays, and occasionally they have higher energies than the ones being created at CERN, and they do sometimes strike the atmosphere. So if it was possible to create a black hole in such collisions, it would have happened before. It's not going to happen in CERN. It would have happened in our atmosphere over geological time. So, fingers crossed.
That's reassuring to know.
Fingers crossed, it's unlikely in the extreme. And if there was any I mean, this was a scare story put around by people who didn't know the physics. If there was any question of it, they wouldn't run an experiment like this.
Yeah, it's too big a risk.
Much too big a risk.
Can I chip in? Maybe this is a bit of a daft question, but if we don't know what dark matter is, how do we know it's out there?
Well, that is a great question. The reason we know dark matter out there is because it has gravity. It doesn't give off light. It doesn't interact with electricity or magnetism, but it's got gravity. And we can see its effect on the motions of stars in galaxies and the motions of galaxies as they move around. We work out how fast they're moving, in which direction, and we say there must be a force of gravity acting on them. But we look at the matter we can see, the stars and the gas, and we say there's not enough matter there to produce that force of gravity. So there must be something out there with this gravity that we cannot see. So we're in a strange situation. We know most of the universe is made of dark matter and another thing called dark energy. We know where it is because we can see its effect on the stars and the galaxies, but we don't know what it is. So any claim to anybody who says we understand the universe, just say dark matter and dark energy, and that's most of the universe. We don't know what it is.
Oh, David.
Interesting.
I can't tell you the joy it gives me just to chat through it all. Lovely. Thank you for coming in. Very exciting. Quick check on the sport. Here's John.
The world's most powerful atom smasher is expected to restart this weekend after a 2-year closure. The Large Hadron Collider will run at a higher speed than ever before. In 2012, the site in Switzerland discovered the long-sought Higgs boson. The so-called God particle gives mass to objects, making it responsible for the creation of stars, planets, and life itself.
Deep underground, the dazzling technology of the world's largest experiment, now on the brink of taking us into uncharted territory. Refurbished and upgraded, the Large Hadron Collider is now ready to operate at unprecedented levels of power. The final preparations are underway to investigate exactly what the universe is made of, and excitement is building.
I'm really hoping that we're going to see something completely outrageous, completely unexpected, because that's what we're all looking for, something that's going to throw our understanding wide open and reveal it to be false.
All this happens on the border between France and Switzerland, in a massive and unique laboratory that lies 100 metres below the surface, in a circular tunnel 27 kilometres around. It works by shooting beams of protons in opposite directions so they crash into each other. It was collisions here that revealed the Higgs boson, the fundamental particle that gives all others their mass or substance. Now, after a 2-year refit, the beams will be fired with twice the energy they had before, something never tried until now. No one can be underground here when the collisions are actually happening, so let's use some virtual reality to try to imagine what's going on. When they found the famous Higgs boson here, it was an amazing achievement, but it fitted into the basic theory of modern physics, the so-called standard model. What comes next goes far beyond that. They really don't know where. It's a chance to unravel some of the greatest mysteries in science. The next collisions may reveal what's called dark matter. What we can see around us is only a fraction of what actually exists. So particles of dark matter may now be unearthed. They may also find that every particle we know about has a twin. There could be dozens waiting to be discovered. That would force a rewrite of the textbooks. And some believe there could be some really bizarre features, like extra dimensions. The next collisions could unearth them. So this really is a venture into the unknown. From the control centre, each section of the collider is checked and then closed up, ready for the switch on. Tension is mounting, because no machine has ever had the power of this one, or the chance of making such fundamental discoveries. BBC News in Geneva.
Well, earlier I spoke to one of the scientists conducting an experiment using the Large Hadron Collider, Dr. Victoria Martin from Edinburgh University.
Well, the scientists that run it are very confident it's going to work. So I work on one of the experiments, but I'm not the person that gets to press the big red button. Of course, there is no big red button, but they're very confident that it will turn on. And it's something we do slowly, so we do it little by little by little. So tomorrow, they're going to put the first protons back into the LHC, and that's going to be at the new higher energy that we've upgraded it to.
Now, you're involved in one of the 4 main experiments that's being talked about. So what is your particular experiment?
My experiment's called ATLAS, and it actually can look for quite a number of phenomena. So it was one of the experiments that found the Higgs boson 2 years ago. And one of the first things we're going to do is actually look at the Higgs boson in a bit more detail. So Professor Higgs and others that predicted the Higgs boson came up with a whole set of measurements, a whole set of properties it should have. And we've not actually seen all of them yet. So we're going to be looking at that. But you also mentioned about the dark matter, and that's the new thing that we're going to look for. So we know there is this thing called dark matter in the universe. Because astrophysicists see it when they look out in the galaxies. What they see is they can see that there's some mass there causing the stars to rotate in a certain way, but they can't see that the stars are heavy enough for this. But we don't know what this dark matter is, and hopefully, with our new energetic LHC, we should actually be able to make it in the LHC and then examine it and test it and find out precisely what it is.
So in very simple language, the collider has been upgraded, has it, and to make it more powerful?
That's right, that's right. More energetic, so we've almost doubled the energy. Basically what we do there is we turn the magnets up higher, we can hook them up higher. And the upgrades that have been going on have actually been going in and welding the magnets better together, so we know they're really going to take the current, the electricity they need for these really high magnetic fields we need for the very energetic protons.
Dr. Victoria Martin there.
The Large Hadron Collider will run at higher speed than ever before. In 2012, the site in Switzerland discovered the long-sought Higgs boson. The so-called God particle gives mass to objects, making it responsible for the creation of stars, planets, and life itself. Now, talking of such...
Well, it's already led to one major scientific breakthrough, and now the world's largest and most powerful atom smasher could make history again. The Large Hadron Collider will be switched back on this Sunday after a 2-year upgrade. Scientists hope that it will reveal even more mysteries of the universe. Here's our science editor, David Schuckman.
Deep underground, the dazzling technology of the world's largest experiment, now on the brink of taking us into uncharted territory. Refurbished and upgraded, the Large Hadron Collider is now ready to operate at unprecedented levels of power. The final preparations are underway to investigate exactly what the universe is made of, and excitement is building.
I'm really hoping that we're going to see something completely outrageous, something completely unexpected, because that's what we're all looking for, something that's going to throw our understanding wide open and reveal it to be false.
All this happens on the border between France and Switzerland, in a massive and unique laboratory that lies 100 meters below the surface, in a circular tunnel 27 kilometers around. It works by shooting beams of protons in opposite directions, so they crash into each other. It was collisions here that revealed the Higgs boson, the fundamental particle that gives all others their mass or substance. Now, after a 2-year refit, the beams will be fired with twice the energy they had before. Something never tried until now. No one can be underground here when the collisions are actually happening, so let's use some virtual reality to try to imagine what's going on. When they found the famous Higgs boson here, it was an amazing achievement, but it fitted into the basic theory of modern physics, the so-called standard model. What comes next goes far beyond that. They really don't know where. It's a chance to unravel some of the greatest mysteries in science. The next collisions may reveal what's called dark matter. What we can see around us is only a fraction of what actually exists. So particles of dark matter may now be unearthed. They may also find that every particle we know about has a twin. There could be dozens waiting to be discovered. That would force a rewrite of the textbooks. And some believe there could be some really bizarre features, like extra dimensions. The next collisions could unearth them. So this really is a venture into the unknown. From the control centre, each section of the collider is checked and then closed up, ready for the switch on. Tension is mounting, because no machine has ever had the power of this one, or the chance of making such fundamental discoveries. David Schuckman, BBC News, in Geneva.
Am CERN in Genf ist der weltgrößte Teilchenbeschleuniger wieder in Gang gesetzt worden. Nach einer 2-jährigen Renovierungsphase schickten die Ingenieure die ersten Teilchenstrahlen in den 27 Kilometer langen Tunnel. Die Forscher erhoffen sich unter anderem Beweise für die Existenz der sogenannten dunklen Materie.
Am Kernforschungszentrum CERN bei Genf ist heute der größte Teilchenbeschleuniger der Welt wieder in Betrieb genommen worden. Herzstück der Anlage ist ein 27 Kilometer langer Tunnel, gut 100 Meter unter der Erde. Hier werden Atomkerne in entgegengesetzte Richtungen fast auf Lichtgeschwindigkeit beschleunigt, bis sie aufeinandertreffen und ihre Bausteine zu neuer Materie verschmelzen. Nach 2 Jahren Verbesserung besitzt der Teilchenbeschleuniger nun fast doppelt so viel Kraft wie zuvor. So wollen die Forscher das Geheimnis um die dunkle Materie lüften. Andreas Linke.
Jetzt sausen die Atomkerne also wieder im Kreis, durch den Ring aus supraleitenden Magneten, die sie beschleunigen und in die Bahn zwingen. Und weil es zuvor einige Pannen gegeben hatte, wollten sich die Wissenschaftler auch nicht durch Ostersonntag vom Neustart abbringen lassen. Sie erhoffen sich Entdeckungen, die komplexe Theorien über unser Universum bestätigen oder widerlegen.
Es sind 5-mal mehr dunkle Materie als sichtbare Materie. Woraus besteht die? Wissen wir nicht. Das würden wir gerne erforschen im nächsten Run, wenn wir Glück haben. Denn bei höherer Energie des Beschleunigers können wir auch Teilchen erzeugen, die eine höhere Masse haben.
Dass Masse und Energie proportional sind, hatte schon Einstein nachgewiesen. Für die doppelte Energiemenge haben sie am CERN 2 Jahre gebastelt, vor allem Teile und Verbindungen an den Magneten ausgetauscht. Doch schon bei halber Energie spürten sie in den riesigen Detektoren das sogenannte Higgs-Teilchen auf, vor 3 Jahren. Damit bestätigte sich schon mal das bisherige Modell, mit dem Physiker sich unser Universum erklären.
Dass man da so schnell, so erfolgreich mit so fantastisch funktionierenden Experimenten das Higgs bereits nachweisen kann, das war eine große Freude und ein toller Erfolg.
In 1 bis 2 Monaten sollen dann wieder die ersten Kollisionen der Atomkerne erfolgen. Und welche Materie und Effekte dann entstehen und zu erkennen sein werden, darauf warten nicht nur die Forscher am CERN mit großer Spannung.
In Switzerland, near the French border, under the ground, a tunnel 27 kilometers long. It's got this maze of wires in there and all sorts of things, and it's all about literally making particles collide. It's called the Large Hadron Collider.
After 2 years of intense maintenance and consolidation and several months of preparation for restart, the Large Hadron Collider, the most powerful particle accelerator in the world, is back in operation.
Depuis le 16 février 2013, on a ce long arrêt technique. Donc long arrêt technique nécessaire parce qu'on avait marché presque pendant 3 ans et demi le lâcher et les injecteurs, donc il fallait faire des grands travaux de maintenance. Et aussi, il fallait qualifier la machine lâchée pour une nouvelle énergie 13 téraélectronvolts. Donc il a fallu faire un grand nombre de travaux, en particulier sur les interconnexions entre les aimants.
Today, a proton beam was back in the 27-kilometer ring, followed by a second beam rotating in the opposite direction. These beams circulated at their injection energy of 450 gigaelectron volts.
Next injection, bring 2 bucket 1 bunch.
Now we have just managed to do the first turn with the anti-clockwise beam, so beam 2. We've been threading the beam all along the ring, and we managed to keep it for 25 turns already without the RF capture, so this is already a big success.
What next? We have to continue to correct a little bit the trajectory to make it the beam now do multiple turns. Then we can start capturing it with the RF system. But in the meantime, we'll try the other beam in the other direction and try and get that to the same stage.
Next injection, bring 1 bucket 1 bunch. Injection. Dump beam 1.
Over the coming days, operators will check all systems before increasing energy of the beams. After the discovery of the Higgs boson in 2012 by the ATLAS and CMS collaborations, physicists will be putting the standard model of particle physics to the test, searching for new physics beyond this well-established theory. The next step for the LHC will be proton-proton collisions at 13 tera-electron volts, opening new frontiers for the LHC experiments to explore.
Depuis le 16 février 2013, on a ce long arrêt technique. Donc long arrêt technique nécessaire parce qu'on avait marché presque pendant 3 ans et demi le lâcher et les injecteurs. Donc il fallait faire des grands travaux de maintenance. Et aussi, il fallait qualifier la machine lâchée pour une nouvelle énergie 13 téraélectronvolts. Donc il a fallu faire un grand nombre de travaux, en particulier sur les interconnexions entre les aimants. Et après, on injecte du faisceau. Et on va donc préparer le faisceau. On a un peu de temps pour régler les faisceaux, pour avoir les premières collisions à 13 téraélectronvolts.
Now we have just managed to do the first turn with the anti-clockwise beam, so beam 2. We've been threading the beam all along the ring, and we managed to keep it for 25 turns already without the RF capture, so this is already a big success.
What next? We have to continue to correct a little bit the trajectory to make it the beam now do multiple turns. Then we can start capturing it with the RF system. But in the meantime, we'll try the other beam in the other direction and try and get that to the same stage.